Hey guys, Casmo here. Continuation of my flight with Notso. He's the subject matter expert that worked with Razbam on the F-15E Strike Eagle, was a Wizo in the United States Air Force. And he was gracious enough to spend some time with me and kind of teach me a little bit about the Strike Eagle and share his experiences. As you'll remember from the last video, we did the engine start, we took off. So here we're just picking up from the takeoff. Again, there are some steps that we missed, particularly my canopy is not locked. I know, I got it. I'm just surprised I didn't go flying out and die a horrible death. But if you can overlook that and just kind of pay attention to the video itself and just kind of pick up some things. Now for me, trying to learn on the fly like that with a conversation going on is a little bit hard. So there's going to be some things where he's saying one thing and I'm probably doing another. I kind of went back and watched things, and that's where some of the videos that I've created recently have come from, is from this exchange and learning things, and I'll continue to share those things as I can. Anyway, enjoy the video. So what is the Wizo doing, you know, just kind of talk through like what the Wizo's doing during all this stuff. You just kind of along for the ride? Has he got a lot of procedures? Is he talking on the radio?
Typically he's like, if you're talking about like the takeoff and rejoin phase, obviously monitoring the engines to make sure there's no issues, calling the aborts if there's, you know, something amiss.
Sure. Yeah.
And then he's just monitoring the flight. So, you know, he'll look back, look at, you know, if he's the lead Wizo, he's going to monitor the, you know, how the wingmen are rejoining.
Yeah.
Kind of give the pilot a, you know, heads up so he doesn't have to stare back. It's not required. Yeah. And then he's just kind of getting ready for the next phase of flight, making sure the steer points are all set up, that we're going where we need to go, and basically just overall monitoring the airplane. So it's basically a co-pilot. So
sure.
Everybody gets wrapped around the axle on, you know, the term Wizo, but essentially it's a co-pilot. It's 90% co-pilot duties, and then when we get in the attack phase, and then there's, you know, some obviously very set roles and responsibilities.
Sure. Okay.
Cool. I assume you're visual. I'm just kind of spiraling up here.
Yeah, I'm looks like a mile at your 7 o'clock here.
Okay, I'll pull it back here a little bit. Let you give you some.
Now, what speeds do you guys normally operate at?
I'm sorry?
What speeds do you guys normally operate at? Just for cruising, getting places? Like, what are you guys usually working with?
Normally, once you get the flight together, we'll typically cruise at about 0.8, 0.85, somewhere in that range. Obviously, it depends on what you're doing. Sure. What your configuration is. If you're really trying to maximize, like, range and endurance, we'll usually fly an AOA rather than a speed.
Okay.
I'm digging deep in my memory. I think it's like 14.5 AOA for max range. I may be saying this backwards, and then it's like 17 AOA for the other one, whether it's range or endurance. I forget which it is. I'd have to.
Okay, that's interesting.
Get the book. But usually, I mean, if you're not worried about, you know, specific range or specific, you know, really trying to, you know, squeeze every pound of fuel out, we'll normally cruise around 0.8 is probably a good number. Okay. And usually once the formation's together, the flight lead will often set an F-tit, you know, an EGT temp to set, and that oftentimes helps the wingman match, so they're not having to jockey the throttles back and forth, staying in position.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we would set like a torque. We would have like a torque setting and try to maintain a torque setting.
Same exact principle.
Okay. Yep.
Sweet. All right. Let's see, where am I going? So we'll continue the 360 around, and we'll go down to steer point 1. Okay. Behind us. So some good visual references for the wingman is if when you come up my wing line. If you see the UHF antenna right behind the canopy. Okay. If you line that up on the missile rail. Uh-huh. And the other trick is you can line up the position lights and the anti-collision lights on the wing root. Get you in a rough position.
Gotcha.
And then the other one is, if you're in the correct position, the vertical stabs, the trailing edge will be a line. That makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay. At another 60 degrees, we'll roll out here. I'm going to slowly push up the power here.
Okay. And how much are you guys like in a flight of 2 like this? I mean, how much conversation is going on regarding like, do you call out like, hey, I'm slowing down, I'm speeding up, or is it just totally on the wingman to figure that shit out?
It's totally on the wingman to figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the comm is pretty minimal at this point. You know, we're expecting the qualified wingman to figure out.
Sure.
Now it's not unusual for the flight lead initially to call out like a reference airspeed.
Sure.
Or they probably will have a pre-brief reference airspeed. But from that point on, you know, unless the flight lead's screwing it up, then the wingman should be able to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll push it up. We'll stay here at about 11.5, and I'll go ahead and go to about 0.8. We'll accelerate to about 0.8.
All right.
So just for some kind of cruise. And you were Army, right? So you guys, when you flew fixed wing, do you use kind of the same signals in terms of like you know, rejoin to close, go out to tactical, or did you guys just have all kinds of different? So
the Army fixed wing guys don't really do anything. Like the only Army fixed wing is like either VIP or intel collection type stuff, so that they're going out single ship. For helicopters, you know, yeah, we'll do kind of close formations. We have like close, loose, and extended. You know, it just kind of depends on the threat situation and what's going on.
Right.
You know, obviously flying close is just more work, you know.
Okay. Yeah, so the Air Force uses basically just use the airplane as your signal. So like if I wanted to cross you over to the other side, I would just give you a quick little wing flick.
Oh, okay.
And if I wanted you to rejoin, I would basically rock you in. Like that is the indication of the wingman to come in close.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And how close? I know it's kind of dependent, but I mean, how close are guys normally flying? We're just cruising. We're just going somewhere.
If you're just cruising, you're going to be in a fairly loose formation. Normally, you'll be out in at least in spread. You know, you can be in route, which is basically 2 ship widths apart.
Okay. It's
kind of just a little bit looser fingertip. You can go out to spread, which is, you know, out to about 500 feet lateral distance. And then oftentimes if you're doing like a cross country or you got a long way to go, I'll just put you in tactical, and then you can go out anywhere to 1.5 miles to 2.5 miles line abreast.
Okay. Yeah, because that's more relaxed. Because trying to be in tight,
exactly.
you're just so intent on staying in position. And
yeah, exactly. Plus the wingman's wasting a lot of gas, so you know he's having to jockey the throttles to stay perfect formation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I wanted you to go to tactical, I don't have to say it on the radio. I would just give you a porpoise. You'd see the airplane porpoise up and down.
Oh, interesting.
And then that is go out to tack line abreast.
Okay. And that would be like
a
mile,
about
you said, or something like that.
Anywhere between like 1 to 2.5 miles. Normally it's 9,000 feet, so 1.5 to about 2.5. It's kind of at the edge of the visual limits.
Okay.
Nowadays with Link 16, they have essentially a Link 16 tactical, which is a lot wider. You're actually outside of visual references.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, Link 16 is amazing. We had that on the newer Apaches. It's such a game changer for us.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw it late in my career. My last jet I flew was Suite 4, so that's why this particular module is really dear to my heart. This was the last suite I flew was Suite 4, and I was so I got to the Link 16 game pretty late, and we never, even though we had the capability for JDAMs, I never got to drop them because it was so new to the jet. The 4 plus, the plus part was the addition of JDAMs. And that actually came pretty late in the Suite 4 upgrade. It was not long before they went to Suite 5. And that's the cool thing about the air-to-air TACAN is you can use that as your gauge to go. And that's the beauty of being in air-to-air master mode is you get that air-to-air TACAN in your HUD rather than having to look down. If you're in a different master mode, you can get it on the HSI or the TS.
Oh, okay. It's not even in the
or the twos.
The HUD. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you switch to like air to ground master mode.
Yeah.
Or nav, it's supposed to go the way. I guess they still have it. But,
yeah, just noticed that's still there, but it shouldn't be. Gotcha.
I don't think so. It's been a while, but I don't remember whether it was in. Actually, now that I remember it, I think it is actually in the other master mode. So
okay.
Because it's really useful for formation stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's super. I'm glad you showed me that because that's super helpful, especially at this range. You're like, I have no idea where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly.
Even for angles, because you can sort of figure out like, okay, he's turning a little bit more left than I thought he was, or something, because the range is going off. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
The other cool thing in the HUD that we added fairly recently is down in the if you're in air-to-air master mode, down in the lower right, you can see the own ship bullseye bearing and range. Okay. Like right now, mine says 301 for 199.
Yeah.
So like when you hear AWACS call outs. You can immediately just glance in your HUD and go, hey, that's the bullseye I'm at currently, and you can then compare to whatever the call was.
Right.
To see if the bandit call is close to you or not, so you can start doing some mental.
Right, because if they said it was 301 at 250, then you'd know it's 50 miles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's 50 miles away, pretty much along that bearing line.
Yeah, okay.
But if it was 300 for 202, you'd be like, oh shit, he's a little too close for
yeah, merged.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a really nice feature is having that bullseye in the HUD.
Yeah, I had no idea
guys use that all the time.
Very cool. So if you wanted me to come back in, what would you do? You'd wag your wings?
Yeah, I'd rock the wings, so you'd see a big wing rock.
Okay. So the wingman's really got to be paying attention. He's really got to be looking around and seeing what the lead guy's doing.
Yeah, and it's no big deal. Like if he happened to be looking away and missed it, it's no big deal. The flight lead would just give him the signal again. Now if he missed it a couple times in a row,
he's like, what are you doing?
Probably get schwacked.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of having a two-place airplane is you usually have at least one guy is probably at least looking inside the formation most of the time.
Yeah, he's paying more attention.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some in our tactics manual. There's some very like if we're in a tactical environment. Now, obviously, if we're just cruising around, it's no big deal. But if we were, no kidding, going into the combat zone, there's some very specific visual lookout responsibilities between the two crew members on who's looking where at what time.
Gotcha.
It's like the pilot's responsibility. For you as the wingman. Your responsibility is mainly forward and pretty much 90 degrees to the flight lead, all the way out to about maybe 45 to 60 degrees out to your far side. And then the wingman the Wizo is opposite, so he's primarily looking inside the formation and then backwards through the tails out to about 45 degrees to the opposite side. Okay. That way you have overlapping visual coverage.
Sure.
But that way there's the Wizo is mainly defensive, responsible for defensive, and the pilot is responsible for forward and the offensive look. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That way, if you do it right, there should never be any
should be no surprises.
Unobserved bandit. Yeah, getting into the formation.
I'm slacking back here. I'm catching up.
Okay. Yeah, I just looked over on me. Where'd you go?
Yeah. So it's not uncommon then, because I'm trying to catch up to go ahead and go into burner to catch up. Like that's.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to do that too much because you'll waste a lot of gas.
Sure.
But I'll pull the power back a little bit.
Or you'll get too fast like I am, and I gotta slow down.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh shit.
Perfect. So if you want, we can swap positions. I'll give you the lead, and I'll fly a little bit of formation on you just for.
All right.
If I can actually talk the talk.
I'll get up past you here.
And the cool thing, obviously, if we weren't in a video game, we could do all the normal hand signals. So I'd give you a hand signal for you to take the lead.
Yeah.
It's basically, pointing you forward, and then once you get line abreast, and you assume the lead, you give me a great big head nod so I can tell so I know that you now have the lead. Obviously,
What is
in game.
And I'm glad you brought this up because I wanted to ask you, like, what's up with that? Like, why do you guys do so much of that? Because, like, in the helicopter world, like, we don't do that. At least in the Army, I've never seen guys do that. And I'm just curious what the driving factor is to do so much visually like that. Is it just to avoid emissions, radio emissions?
It's mainly just to keep the radio clear. The less you
Gotcha.
talk on the radio, the more you can hear. Because
Yeah.
you know, vast majority of building your SA is listening rather than talking.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
So the least we talk on the radio, the better. That way, it doesn't distract other people in the flight. You're not going to miss an important radio call from somebody else that you may need.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so our and this is Air Force wide. It's not really Strike Eagles, but it's
Sure.
The mantra is, you know, talk by exception.
Hmm.
You know, a quiet cockpit's a good cockpit, or, you know, a quiet flight's a good flight, kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
I'm going to come up and see if I can do a pretty good fingertip position here.
Okay.
Yep, so basically what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to line up the anti-collision lights, and I'm going to try to line up the UHF antenna with the edge of the what am I trying to say, the AIM-9 rail or the missile rail.
Okay.
Probably just a little too far back here, because what I want to see is if I looked over when I'm in the correct position, your vertical stabs, the trailing edge of that would be lined up right there. That's a pretty good fingertip position.
Okay.
Might be just the tiniest bit wide. And then in a fingertip, the wingtips are not overlapped.
Mm-hmm.
If I go into a weather position, that's when it's almost like a Thunderbird's. You know, you're pretty severely overlapped.
Okay.
But that's if I'm going to go through thick clouds and I don't want to go lost wingman.
Okay,
So
and that's what I was going to ask. Like, why? You know, like, what is the purpose? But, okay, so not to lose sight in weather.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. As the name implies, it's the weather position.
Yeah.
So you don't. So if the clouds are so thick, even sometimes in normal fingertip, you might start losing them.
Wow. Okay.
And then you go lost wingman. You do the big bomb burst away from each other.
Sure.
And what I'll do now is I'll go out to route, which is basically just double the distance. It's another 2 ship distances, so about right here.
Okay.
That's kind of what's called route position. And the way you do the visual signal for that, if I'm in fingertip, you just kind of kick the rudders left and right to kind of yaw the airplane. Yep. Not roll, but just yaw. So just a quick little kick.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see. And then the visual signal to go out to spread, which is about 500 feet, you would basically just take your hand. Obviously, I can't see it in
Sure.
game, but you would just kind of push me away, kind of like do the Heisman.
Okay.
Just kind of give me like a pushing away.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then once I'm in route or spread, if you want me to go to tactical, then you do the porpoise. You just do the up and down nose. Yep. And you don't have to be quite so severe about it. Just kind of a gentle porpoise, and then I'll go out to tactical. Line abreast.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you take back lead.
Okay, I got the lead on the left. What we can do, we'll circle down here to the coast.
All right.
And see if we can find something to do some CDIP bombing. Have you had a chance to do much of the air-to-ground stuff?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously what the jet excels at.
Yeah.
A cool little tip is in the air-to-ground program page, where you set up your 4 programs. You don't necessarily ever have to set up a CDIP program because you can always HOTAS from auto to CDIP at any point. It's pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so my technique is I don't even ever set up a CDIP program. I always set everything to auto.
Okay.
And then if I want to CDIP something, then I do the HOTAS to get into it. And the way you do that is and you can go to air-to-ground master mode. And then pull up an armament page so you can see.
All right. There.
And then, so like right now, I've got an auto program set up. So if you have an auto, like any of your programs, make at least one of them an auto.
All right. Yeah.
So you get the auto pipper.
All right.
And then first thing you have to do is take command of the HUD. So press the castle switch in.
Okay.
And release it, and then immediately go forward, and you'll get the in command, the IN CMD on the left side of the HUD, above the airspeed.
Okay. Yep.
Or above the Mach. See that?
Yep.
And then if you just want, and it's important, you have to be in command, and then once you're there, just go after the auto act switch, and that'll go to CDIP.
Oh, okay.
And then if you want to go back to auto, just auto aft again, and you can just kind of in a loop, you can go back and forth, whichever one you want.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, so that's a quick way to switch. Like if you have a target of opportunity, and I'm like, hey, I see something down there I want to bomb, but I have an auto program, I could just quickly pop it into CDIP,
right,
and go about my way.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Cool. All right, if you want, go ahead and we'll just kind of set up a. If you want, we can go set up a bombing pattern, just kind of a visual container pattern. So go about. Mile or two trail.
All right.
And I'll just kind of set up a rectangular container here around some buildings, and we'll just roll in and do some dive bombs.
Okay, very cool.
If you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, I've got Master Arm hot, and I'll do some Mark 82s. Oh, you've got Mark 82 airs. I'm going to switch those to low drag.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, so I'm going to set those to nose, so they're low drag only.
Okay.
Because if you have tail fuse selected, that's going to pull the balut on the bomb.
Are you putting them one per station or step? How are you going to do that?
I'm just doing a step program, just to drop one at a time.
All right, and then
just
nose.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's looks like a little ship out of the water. We'll use that initially as a. Can you see the little boat off the coastline? Just I don't know, maybe a half mile off the, like kind of right 1 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
2 o'clock.
Tally.
Yep. So I'll set up there. So I'm going to do a CDIP pass. So since we haven't done any pre-planning, I'll use like visual canopy references.
Okay.
So when that is about 90 degrees or just before 90 degrees at the 3-9 line, kind of imagine that you're holding a fist up to the, like putting it on the canopy rail.
Right.
And when that boat is at about a fist distance, that'll probably give you about a 20-degree dive angle.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and roll in, and then you can just kind of follow me in.
Okay.
Yep. So rolling in. And what you want to do is that you want an aim off distance with the flight path marker and put the displayed impact line, the line that goes down, put that about halfway down. Put the ship about halfway down the line.
Okay.
And then that'll give you a good starting point for your aim off distance. And then obviously when the pipper gets there. And ready, pickle. Do a good safe escape maneuver, 30 degrees nose high. Jack.
Oh, nice. All right. Pickle.
And then we'll just, so just do a climbing safe escape. So once you release 30 degrees nose high, so you get your nose through the horizon, and then roll into just kind of follow me. Nice. Good one. So we'll do, I ended up about 15-degree pass on that one. I was a little shallow.
Okay.
For 20. So I'll move in a little bit to get a little bit steeper dive angle.
Okay. All right, I got you in sight.
Copy.
And I'm just trying to keep that mile or so.
Yeah, exactly.
Distance,
yeah, mile, 2 miles, something like that.
Okay.
Essentially, you want to be at the opposite, or not opposite, but the next corner of the box.
Sure.
So like I'm turning base right now, so you should be turning downwind roughly, or being on the downwind.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. So I'm turning base, and then if we were like on a conventional range, we'd be talking to the ranger. And
yeah.
One's in hot. And I get clearance, cleared hot. That's going to be a lot better. So that's about a 30-degree dive. It's looking good. Again, a good aim off distance is put the target about halfway down the line.
Yeah.
For 20s and 30s. And then for 10 degrees, you want to put it about a third of the way down the line. Like at the bottom 2/3. Check.
Okay. 2's in hot.
2 cleared hot?
Nice.
Have you ever done an auto HUD designation?
No.
Cool. So this is one of the cool things about the Strike Eagle is you can go get into an auto pipper, so out of CDIP.
Okay.
And then so you'll make sure you're in command still, so you still have the HUD in command.
Okay, so I'm in command. I do the auto acquisition aft. I've got the auto circle now.
Yep, auto circle,
okay.
and then undesignate. So it's a boat switch aft to undesignate. And you know that because the ASL goes away, and now it says nav steering.
I'm going to have to look to see what my boat switch is. Hang on. So, yeah, I've never even used that button. Boat switch aft, you said?
Yep, boat switch aft will undesignate, so that, in other words, you take all the target.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you automatically designate when you pickle, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
When we did the CDIP, it created a designation.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, even on a CDIP, if that diamond was kind of in your way obscuring,
sure,
you can undesignate and then redo it. So now what you want to do is roll in and put that pipper right on your target. And then once
the auto pipper?
Yep, put the auto pipper, essentially put the flight path marker directly on your target.
Okay.
And then when you're happy, then pickle and hold, and you'll get an auto designation with an ASL, and then just hold the pickle button down, pull up the line, and now you end up doing a dive toss.
Okay.
And then the bomb will come off at about 5 degrees nose high or so.
Okay, so I'm supposed to keep holding the button?
Yep.
Pickle?
So you should get a designation and an ASL.
Yep.
Stay on the, work to stay on the ASL.
Yep.
See how good it did on this one.
So I've got 10 seconds to release.
Ooh, that was a nice shack. It's usually not quite as accurate as the CDIP, but it's really good if you want to get laser guided bombs on to the target for your Wizo to then capture with the target pod.
Now, like I mentioned in the intro, it's a little bit hard sometimes to learn while in the middle of doing something and also trying not to look like a complete ass. So I did go back and watch this section and cover it in a separate video. I'll put a link down in the description below about what Notso is talking about during this process, and like I said, I'm definitely not doing it right here, so just enjoy the conversation.
Do you have your target pod unstowed and powered up?
I don't think so. No, I didn't turn it on.
That's okay. Where this really comes in handy is it's more of like a target of opportunity, but I want to get like a GBU-10 or GBU-12.
Sure.
But I don't have a designation. In other words, I just saw something on the ground I want to go get the bomb on. So what you do is you'll take command of the HUD, and you can either do one of two things. You can either take command a second time, and that'll slave the target pod to the pipper.
Okay.
Or if you just did exactly what we did and designate with the pickle button, it'll automatically slap the pod to the designation, and then your Wizo can take over the pod, or you can take over the pod if you're good at doing that and flying.
Okay.
And then, so what I'm going to do is, obviously you can't see what I'm doing, but I slew the target pod way off.
Right.
And I'm going to roll in and designate, and then the pod will go to the little boat. And pickle. And then the beauty is that the Wizo can then take over the pod, and then guide the bomb, or you can come around for another pass later once you have the target pod on that spot.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll play around with it. I understand what you're saying. Makes sense.
Yeah, but the auto pepper designation is usually used for. It's not exclusively for laser guided bombs, but it's most typically used for that application. Especially if the Wizo is struggling to find the target on the ground and he's slewing the pod all around. Usually the pilot like, dude, let me have the pod real quick. Slave it to the nose, roll in, put the nose on the target, pickle. And it doesn't necessarily mean a bomb is going to come off right then, but when you pickle it, it creates a designation and slaves the pod to that spot, and then the Wizo can then refine it from there if it's not exactly where it needs to be. Okay. And we did that all the time in theater, because it's unless you have coordinates, it's really hard to get the pod on as a Wizo. Yeah. You're just kind of slewing around hoping you find something. Yeah. You're essentially looking through a soda straw.
Yep.
But the pilot can look over the rail and go, yeah, dude, I see that. So here, let me get the pod on for you real quick. Yeah. And it's a really good crew coordination exercise. We go out and practice that all the time.
Okay. Well, now we're in a familiar position for me where I'm lost and I don't know where the other guy's at. So what? Obviously, I can tell I'm almost 6 miles away from you. I assume you're on the other side of the circle that we're doing, but
yeah. So I'm overland. I'm essentially on downwind turning base.
Okay.
Just like we're in the pattern at 14,000.
Okay. Yep.
Just overland. So I'm looking for you.
I just came over the land myself. I'm probably in the crosswind.
So if you want, if you don't want to do any more bombing, we can go do something else.
Well, let's drop another bomb or two and call it a day. Yeah.
The key in this airplane is because it's not fly-by-wire, you want to be pretty controlled. You don't want to yank the stick.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can very easily over-G it while you're in that dive. So you want to do a nice, smooth 4 to 5G pull to get 30 degrees nose above the horizon, and then that completes the safe escape. If you just snatch the stick and go, oh shit, then you almost 100% guaranteed to over-G it.
Yeah, you're
at the speeds that you're flying.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've got 7 Mark 82s. I'm just gonna continue flying up the coast. So just once you get over land, just continue.
Heading
south.
North. Oh, south. Okay, got it.
Yeah, heading south like you're on the downwind.
Gotcha.
And we'll bomb something here on this airfield that we're just coming up below.
Okay.
Tell you what, we can do I'm gonna set it up as a Mark 82 high drag. So I'm going to go nose tail.
Okay.
We can. I'm going to orbit over the airfield, and what we'll do is we'll drop down and do a low altitude release.
Okay. So we need nose to tail.
Yep. So
and then, are you setting any intervals? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to. If you don't set an interval, the jet will do it for you. It has an internal min ripple interval.
Okay.
Based on milliseconds, but you may not get what you want. So I'm going to do 50 feet spacing.
Okay.
So 0 and then 50.
Got it.
That's pretty good. And then once you're in orbit over the airfield, I'll talk you onto a target.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I'm at 15,000. I'm just on the south side of the airfield. So call contact on the cross runway intersection where the 2 runways meet.
Contact.
Okay, so from there, take your eyes south. You should see a parking apron, big long rectangular apron that's empty. And then just to the south of that, you've got a smaller one with a lot of buildings around the periphery of the parking apron. Call contact on that secondary apron.
Yeah, is it got a line of parallel trees?
It has a line of parallel trees to the south. It's the only apron that's got buildings on 3 sides.
Oh, okay. Yep. Contact. Okay.
Okay. So on the north side, there's 2 larger rectangular hangars spaced apart with a couple of smaller buildings in between. Call contact on those 2 rectangular beige-colored hangars on the north side of that apron.
Yes, contact. They've got like 5 little hangars between them?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
Contact. Yep.
So I will take the get my bearings here. I'll take the western of those 2 hangars.
Okay.
I'm sorry, no, I'll take the southern of the 2 hangars, and you take the northern, and we'll do we'll do an east to west run-in, basically perpendicular to the runway.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep. So I'm heading eastbound. So I'm 4
Yep,
miles
I'm headed
from you.
eastbound too. What we'll do is we'll go out a few miles.
Okay.
And we'll basically just do a low. We'll drop down to about 500 feet.
Okay.
And we'll do a C-dip level, 500-foot level on those hangars.
Okay. Alright, I got you in sight. I got your bomb drops.
And I'm off to over the water. I'm gonna watch you come in, and then I'll rejoin on you.
Alright, coming in.
And where are you in relation to the runway?
I am over the water, lined up with the runway. I'm at your probably 7 o'clock.
I'm gonna do one more pass to get rid of the rest of my bombs. Pickle.
Alright, I'm gonna come in right behind you and drop my last 2 as well.
I'm in a left-hand turn.
Oh, there you are. Okay, yeah.
And where are you?
I'm right behind you. I just passed across the runway myself over the water. Right behind you.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. We'll rejoin. What do you want to do next?
Well, we're running out of gas at this point. I don't know about you. I'm at 2,000.
Yeah, we got 44.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot we didn't have bags. So yeah, if you want, we can start heading back, or we can go hit the tanker. Either way.
Yeah, let's just head back and see if we can land.
Okay. Sweet. So I'll put in base point. It says we're 145 miles. How much? What's your gas again? 22.
I'm at 1,800 now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, we mean it. We may be tight on that. We may have to just go land where we just bombed.
Yeah, let's go land there and say hi.
Let's do it.
We didn't hit the runway, so we should be good.
Exactly. All right, cool. I'll keep in a turn if you want to rejoin, and we'll come up initial.
Yeah, I'm rejoining with you right now.
Where are you?
I'm at your 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Warning, fuel low. Warning, fuel low.
Yeah, now it's yelling at me about my fuel.
Okay, I'm just going to extend out here. We'll descend and we'll line up for initial.
Okay.
Got to get nice and close so you press everybody on the ground.
Oh, jeez.
Do you know about the HOTAS to switch between air-to-air and air-to-ground, Master?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's another one I love, so you don't have to go hunting for buttons.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find tanking in this?
Surprisingly easy. I mean, you know, I say easy, but yeah, not as challenging as I thought it would be.
Nah, it's really not. Once you learn the visual references and kind of get a feel for the stick movements, I find the refueling's actually pretty easy.
And you typically fly in VR as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't fly in anything other than VR.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot as well.
I'm going to do a little bit of lineup here.
Okay, I'm catching up to you.
Cool. And reference 350.
350.
And a slight little turn back. Same thing for, like we were talking about all the visual signals, same thing here, with the flight lead would just give a visual signal for the brake.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. In the turn.
So do you brake and then I count, or how does this work?
Yeah, so 5 seconds, so just as soon as
Okay.
I brake, count 5 seconds and then go into your own.
Okay, got it.
Yep, so maintain 1500 AGL.
Okay.
You're pretty much sea level anyway, so.
Yeah.
And then, good visual reference that I do is I'll usually put the runway just on the outside edge of the missile rail in terms of lateral spacing. I find that works really well.
And you're slowing to 250 at this point? Or?
Yeah, well, you're slowing below 250. Once you get below 250, gear and flaps come down.
Gear and flaps, yep.
And then I like to be around 200, 210 for the base turn.
Okay.
And then you're just kind of carving around. So 1 base gear, full stop. So I'll keep whatever power keeps me around like 210, 220.
Yeah.
That way I don't get slow in the turn. And then once you start rolling out on final, you want to start slowing down to get into that 20 to 22 AOA.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so you don't have to be 20 to 22 AOA the whole way around, just once you get lined up on final.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And then you want the flight path marker probably just at the edge of the runway or just short, with it at about the 3 degree in the pitch ladder. So you can use that as a reference to get on glide slope. So probably a little steep coming down, a little fast.
All right, I'm turning base.
Yep. Speed brake over the threshold.
Okay.
Boom, nice. And then the big thing, get right into the air brake, because the nose will want to drop if you don't get the nose up.
Okay, yeah. So
holding it around 10 to 12 degrees nose high. And that works really well. If you let the nose drop, then you basically run out of the inertia wants to bring the nose down.
Right.
So I'll leave the speed brake and keep the stabs full aft until I slow down. That just gives you that little bit of extra drag.
Okay.
And then I'll clear to the cold side once I'm under control. And then for style points, you never want to exit the runway with your speed brake out. So otherwise you'll get made fun of in the squadron.
Altitude.
And then so usually speed brake in, flaps go up as you exit the runway.
Okay.
Yeah, the common wisdom in the Air Force is 90% of being a good fighter pilot is looking good in the pattern. Yeah, I find the airplanes really easy to land too. I suck at it in flat screen, but in VR it's a piece of cake. As I've gotten a rash of shit from one of my first videos trying to land in flat screen. Nice big bounce.
Yeah,
I should have recorded this so I could redeem myself.
It takes a little getting used to. Sorry we bombed your airfield, everybody, but...
Yeah, exactly. Don't mind us.
I'm coming to give you our insurance information. So.
Exactly.
For shutdown, I assume you just close the throttle?
Yeah, exactly. There are some nuances if you're real life to purge the fuel and blah blah blah, but essentially just shut the throttles off.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, with 700 pounds to spare, plenty of fuel.
That was an efficient mission. Then you got max use of all your gas.
That's it.
Yeah, I landed with 34. But again, that's not uncommon. The wingman's working harder.
Yeah.
To stay in position, so that's not uncommon. So that's one of the flight lead's responsibilities, is to monitor their wingman's fuel so they don't run themselves out of gas too early, cut the mission short.
Yeah, that was constantly a thing that we were doing in the helicopter world, is like checking, like, hey, what's your fuel state? Just figuring out who the low man is and planning everything off of that. So, yeah, no differences. I'm sure a vast majority of all the things that we do are pretty much the same. It's just probably the way we do it is a little bit different, But the reasons
it all has the same purpose.
That's right. Yeah. Well, a big thanks to Notso for taking time out of his weekend to get with me and kind of teach me a few things. And, of course, by virtue of doing that, sharing some things with you guys as well. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I really did. Notso and I have been talking. I think we're going to do some stuff here again in the near future, just trying to make our schedules match. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. I sure did enjoy making it. And we'll talk to you later. Take it easy.